Welcome back, baseball fans, to this eliminating the Montreal Burlington Expos video. And what you're looking at first is last year's result. I wanted to do a comparison. This is last year's Expos. They still have a lot of the 69 expansion Expo players there. Ron Brand, Mac Jones, Sid O'Brien, Bobby Wine, a couple guys, just really weren't particularly that good. A 14-21 season, bad hitting, decent pitching. Bob Bailey, just a thumper for the Expos for about a decade here. 260, 10, and 28. Rusty Staub, batting average fell, but he did have 8 home runs. Ron Fairley, a 198 season. That's going to kill you. And Ron Fairley did not hit a home run in that year, so that is going to hurt you a lot. Mike Marshall, underused. Didn't give up a run in 14 2/3 innings. Maybe he should have doubled his innings pitched and seen if he could steal some more wins. Baylor Moore, flame-throwing left-hander before his injury. Nice little season there, 286. Steve Rogers, great rookie card, was okay at best. Bill Stoneman, the ace, got rocked, lost a ton of games, and it gets worse from there. And so with that, let's transition now, take a peek. What just happened in a fantastic season? They go 22-18, so they improve by 11 games, and 1 game away from making the playoffs. They lose their final game of the season to the Toronto Blue Jays and miss out on the playoffs by 1 run. This is a good team. It's not a fluke. 190 runs. They gave up 173. They were the hottest team in April and May and early June, and then the bottom fell out for them. They started 16-3, but finished 6-15. They lost 4 of 6 to Detroit. 4 out of 6 to Cleveland, 6 out of 7 to Detroit, 3 out of 5 to the Yankees, and 2 out of 3 to the Blue Jays. They lost all 4 of those series. The last 2 were a little bit more close. They had a great draft, getting the 74 brilliance of Mike Jorgensen and Dale Murray into the offense and the pitching here. Let's start with Staub up top, was your all-star. 302. The batting average came back with 8 homer, 34 RBI. We're getting to the point where it's move on to the Mets time for Rusty Staub, as they are the Mets with a losing record this year. Their fans aren't going to stand for another dismal season. So we think Staub is done in Expo land. Bob Bailey continues to rake for this team. 401 on base, by the way. 30 RBI, but just 4 homers, which curiously. Jorgensen's rookie performance, a 390 on base, just 5 homers. Brilliant card in 74. Will be his best card of his whole career, 74. But beside that, the rest of the offense, as you can see, kind of ordinary. Particularly Kenny Singleton having his first below average season with his 73 card, because he's been tearing it up in Strat. If you watched the Met World Series victory 2 or 3 years ago now against the Tigers, he hit 360 for that Met team, helping that 69 Mets squad win the World Series. We talked about Mike Marshall. He did get 28 innings. He did double his performance. He was outstanding. And Dale Murray, boy, what a 1-2 punch at the back end of that bullpen. It's overkill, though. Marshall's a relief 3. Murray's a relief 4. There's really not room for both of these guys to be the star closer. So it could be that we send Mike Marshall to the Dodgers for Willie Davis. That's what happened in traditional MLB. Bill Stoneman was the ace, was a little bit better, still an ERA over 4 and a really bad whip. The rest of the starting pitching wasn't very good either. Look at the high whips of all of those guys. Marshall and Murray fixed a lot out of that bullpen, Steve Rogers, again, has an incredible, very good rookie card, but he's gotten so-so results. So with that, let's take a look at the Expos. We're going to pull the 871 guys out and analyze the 12 players beyond. All right. So we take the 8 away. We'll give you analysis of them at the end of the video. But right now, let's see who's coming back. The dozen who come back to the team. And they're going to go 6 and 6. So they're going to bring back a ton of pitching. And they have they got to fix half their offense. So we have a catcher, Bacabella. Jorgensen, this is that card I was telling you about, folks. Bruce is a brilliant 1E2 first baseman. Catcher first. Fairly, you have some redundancy here. He could be your first baseman. He's got to be your DH here. You got Bob Bailey at third base, Singleton and Martinez. So of the hitters, 4 of these guys are killing it. Fairly, Jorgensen, Bailey, and Singleton. And Ted Martinez is an infielder, shortstop for now. You can plug in there. But it's the 6 pitchers, and it's a bullpen and a couple starters. So Steve Rogers, this is what I was saying. This is the card that has been pretty mediocre the last couple seasons. And Baylor Moore comes back for one more year at 72, and then he'll have some arm difficulty. But check out those strikeouts for this guy. He's sort of a lefty Nolan Ryan for this time. 161 strikeouts and 148 innings for Baylor Moore. And you have your entire bullpen's coming back. So you have a strength here that you have to utilize and make your team better. So you got Dale Murray. And you got Mike Marshall as a setup guy, and that's just overkill. I mean, sure, you'd love to, as a luxury, you'd love to have both these guys, but pretty much you've got a trade chip here. Mickey Scott's just an average lefty, but they haven't really needed him. Tom Walker is another long reliever. So it seems that Marshall historically would be the trade chip in that group there. So it looks like it has a look and feel that Rusty Staub and Mike Marshall aren't long for this Expo team. So can they make the desired off-season moves to stay competitive and to have another quality season? Maybe they can be more steady instead of as streaky. They had that 16-3 start and a 6-15 finish. Let's see if they can be more consistent next year and compete in a winnable division with the Tigers, Indians, and the Ohio players. Let's see what the Expos are going to do. Okay, let's take a look at the 8 players of these Expos and see who is going to be kept, waived, and retired. John Bateman is one of 2 catchers. John Bacabella is still around. Bateman, long career with the Astros. Some power in there mixed in. 69, he's on the Expo expansion team. And in 72, he splits time with the Expos and Philadelphia. Nothing special, so let's see if he can get waivers. So we want a 72 card of him. We'll check the Phillies where he had more time, and he's right there. So he can get waivers. We'll give John Bateman waivers so he can go look for a job. And if he can't find a job, he's welcome to come back, I suppose, to the Expos. Next player is the boots. The boots were made for walking. Is he going to walk away from the Expos? Boots Day. He was a Cardinal. So in the 69 expansion year, he wasn't there. And in 70, he had that card, and in 71, the card we just used is a little bit better in almost a full season. 283, 342 on base. The 9 steals, they made him a B stealer, even though it got caught 4 times, so that was opportunistic. And he was a rangy 2 with a -1 arm. So that was all, and plus, even in limited playing time against a lefty, he has a ton of walks on his card. So the 71 card was a nice find for this Expo team. In 72 and 73, well, he gets waivers in 72 because he's got 428 at-bats. I'm more curious to see if the 73 day card exists. So I can go to Gary's roster page and see in 73, because that's the year I would pick if that card was made for Boots Day. It is. So I'm thinking the options are, I put him on waivers if it's 72. If you want to keep the guy because you can't find anybody else to keep, make a mental note to take that 73 card because it's better than the 72 card. All right, next player, Ron Hunt, Mr. Hit by the Pitch. So that magical card of all-time hit by pace card record holder is now retired. So he led the league 7 straight years. 71, it was 50. And I feel that Strat-O-Matic exaggerates hit by pitches. And if you played 162 games, this dude might get plunked 60, 70 times, as often as the HPP is on the card. So, and if you consider it a walk, that makes his on base percentage even better. Because you don't have hit by pitches on the pitcher's card, is the reason for that. So you have 72 through 74, all with Montreal. And in 73, look at that, folks. He's 26 in MVP votes for these Expos. He is not going anywhere. He gets better. Interestingly, look at the hit by pitch of 50 season. He got a 402 on base. It's better, 418, with just 24 plunks. So maybe he decided to stand a little further away from the plate, I suppose. I don't know, but I'm going to take him. You know, these Expos are looking for value, and that's value right there. Also in the year of 73. And again, if we have too much value, we'll just put Boots Day on waivers. It's a good thing for these early expansion, these 69 expansion teams to find talent and have too many guys they want to keep. Next guy is Rich McKinney. He was not associated with the Expos. He got picked up as a free agent. You see, he's a White Sox, Yankee, and Oakland A. He may have gotten a ring in 73 for the A's, or 74. In any event, this was the season we just used, his most productive season in 71 with the White Sox. 271 with 8 dingers and 400 some odd plate appearances. After that, not a lot is going on. Can we get the guy waivers in 72 exclusively with the Yankees? Let's go check him out as a Yankee player in 72. And he'd be an infielder or outfielder. He could be either spot. McKinney's not there or there, so we have to look at their extra players. He's not there. Oh, that's a shame. So Strat's decided against printing this card that hit 215 in 128 plate appearances, a 514 OPS. It's time to retire Rich McKinney. Well, we got some nice usage out of him. And that's kind of the point of this carryover league, folks, is that you got to find these diamonds in the rough. And if they have only one good year in the whole career, get it into the league because you have space. You got 32 teams. So, next player, Rusty Staub. And this could be a painful one here. I'm not going to just look at the trades this soon. We know he gets traded. The year, let's see if it is this year, though. Yeah, it is. One could argue that, hey, wait a minute, he's an all-star for the Expos, and then suddenly he goes to the Mets, and he never goes to the all-star game for the Mets. What's going on? In his prime, age 20 to 31. Well, maybe the Expos don't have enough players to qualify for the all-star game, so they sent Rusty. Notice he hit 311, 874, and in his Met tenure in the next 4 years, he doesn't top 874, he doesn't top 311, and he doesn't top 19 home runs. So there is that, you know, not necessarily a done deal here, folks. But the Mets need somebody like this, so you might as well go get him. If the Mets go get him, this is a Met situation, not an Expo situation, but you have to decide which of these cards you want to get. They're all kind of about the same. In any event, you label this guy as a keeper. And the question remains is, you got to keep the phone lines open and see what the Mets are going to offer. And if they don't offer you anything good, you keep them. I mean, you're definitely not putting them on waivers. And if they don't give you anything good, you trade Rusty Staub to the Tigers, his next stop, perhaps. So, speaking of Tigers, Gary Sutherland's the next player who played for them, and the Padres, and the Expos, and Gary Sutherland bounced around a lot. Would be a good expansion team player. So he all the way back to the '66 Phillies, Expos. You got the Astros, Tigers, Brewers, Padres, Cardinals, all the way through the decade. '72 though, oh, this is a little bit painful here. He does not get waivers, so you have to make the decision to keep him or retire him or trade him. You cannot put him on waivers. He doesn't have a card in '72. That's the constraint. So if you're keeping this guy, you only have 3 other years to keep him if you want him. 1 was with Houston, 2 is with Detroit. Full season with Detroit here, who have Dick McAuliffe, by the way, and McAuliffe isn't going anywhere. If the Expos wanted to keep Sutherland with Detroit's stats, they could. As the Tigers would keep McAuliffe anyway. They prefer McAuliffe to Sutherland. But for now, you just hate to put a guy on waiver. Excuse me. You'd hate to retire a guy because he doesn't play very much in '72 and '73, knowing full well he's going to come out of retirement. The question is, though, you know, you've got Ron Hunt is a second baseman who you're keeping, who doesn't play third very well. This is almost like a bluff. You make him a keeper, but at the last moment you decide to retire him because you don't want to lock in. Plus, what you're doing is you're locking in. He has to be either a 74 or 75 performance. 75 is the rookie crop, so that means that if you have like Larry Parrish, Gary Carter, and Warren Cromartie, or somebody else on the Expos in '75, I don't know, you're already using up the Gary Sutherland year, and so that's also a reason to not keep this guy. '74, the Expos are super talented because they had Dale Murray and Jorgensen and other guys. I think I'm going to retire the guy, and that happens every once in a while. I'm going to retire him, and he can come back, come out of retirement with a different team. But that's the only path he has. And frankly, retired players, there's usually a handful of guys who come out of retirement every year in the draft, and I predict Sutherland will be one of those. All right, next guy is Bill Stoneman. So you have a couple top of the rotation pitchers coming up here. Stoneman was he their best 69 player? Well, he pitched 235 innings. 72 is very good, so he's coming back. He's an all-star. Got to bring that card back. So Bill Stoneman, gotta speed this up a little bit. It's getting long here. So we're going to go Stoneman. We're going to keep. And lastly, it's Steve Renko. Now we know Renko will be here for a while. He'll be throughout the decade. He'll be with the Red Sox, with the Angels at certain points. And so Renko was with the Poes through '76. He's a Cub, Oakland, White Sox, Red Sox, Angel, Royal. He's all over the place. '73, excellent year. We had a 375 performance. We could turn that into a 281 performance. Boom, top of the rotation. So now I'm getting excited about this team. They're pretty cool now. You're going to have Stoneman getting a little better. Renko getting a lot better. Okay, we know that Rogers card is good, and Baylor Moore 1 more year. So you've improved your starting pitching. You still technically have Mike Marshall and Dale Murray on the roster to decide if you want to make a trade. You still could have Rusty Staub as a nice trade chip. Ron Hunt is fine coming back at second base, and I don't know about Boots Day. Or you could keep Staub and let Boots Day go. But for right now, they have 5 guys they want to keep. One of those a potential trade. And that means we have gotten rid of a total of 18 teams. Through this analysis, let's go over to the total here. So 18 teams are supposed to have a math of 4, 2, and 2. And here, that math would be 72 keepers and 36 guys waived and retired. Our math suggests we have 76, or plus 4, and I don't know how I got to 0, 2 there. Oh, I must have put a strange number in here somewhere because I got a bad calculus. This should add up to the same number here. So it should be, if it's 76 and 40, it should be 28, not 0, 2. So that's the problem there. In any event, I'll have to fix this problem off the air. But basically, we want to have as few retirees as we can, so that we have a full waiver class. That's it today for eliminating the Expos. Great season, even though it didn't finish well. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.